Crazy that a lot of people don't actually have this education, don't actually know about all of this stuff. Because I was one of those people. I'm not judging you. I was one of those people. Today, I am going to be sharing the 10 financial habits that I wish I started earlier in my 20s. Would have set me up a little bit better for my 30s, but I'm here to help you out so you don't make the same mistake I made. Hi, I'm Maria, the Maria Friday on all socials, and it's not your fault if you didn't really learn about money management, finance. I'm not like an expert or anything. I have to go and do some of the things that I'm going to list for you to do today, but I think it's so important to know what's going on, how to manage your money, and how to actually grow it. So eventually you can get to that financial independent stage that we all hope and dream for. You can do it. Let's get into it. Whether you like it or not, you are going to have to invest in your financial education. It's just a baseline. That's number one, because like I just said, right? You need to know what's happening with your money. And like I said in my other videos, I was lucky because my partner had that experience and background. So it was helping me, when we got together in my mid-20s, it kind of helped set me up. But at the end of the day, I still had to do some of that research myself. That included listening to the podcasts, going on YouTube, websites, blogs, spreadsheet. He created a budget spreadsheet for me. Looking at that, look at what other people have said online, how I could customize it for me. All of those things are financial education. The more you know, the better decisions you can make, right? Know the difference between post-tax and pre-tax when it comes to income. All of those little things like 401k, Roth IRAs, 457s, investment funds, target funds, all of those things were things that I took that extra step myself to learn. What does it mean? I don't really understand what is like I said, my husband, then boyfriend, fiance, kind of opened my eyes like, okay, you need a credit card, you need to do all these things. But I had to be like, which credit card? What are the rates? Like all of those little things that a lot of people think that you should just know. Not everybody gets that education, and I'm not blaming you at all. I'm just here to say, just because you didn't get that education before doesn't mean you shouldn't have it now. Learn all that you can learn. You're going to find people that you like online, and you're going to find people that you don't like online. So people just are there to sell you a course, and some people are actually there for your financial independence and financial freedom. You will find your people, but one thing I can say is I had to do that myself. I went online, did the research, found out about all of these terms that I just mentioned may not even be common to you, or maybe you heard them in passing and you're like, what does that mean? Deductions, contributions, all of those things. What does that mean? You have to do that. You have to look it up. That is just like a non-negotiable, and that's why it's number one. So let's get on to the next one. Second is creating a budget. I mentioned earlier in tip number one that, I sat down in my mid-20s, I looked at my finances and stuff. At least if you don't know, I mentioned it in a lot of videos at this point, but I sat down in my mid-20s and I really was like, okay, I've graduated with my master's, I'm about to go into the work field as a professional, yet I don't have a credit score, I don't have a credit card. What am I gonna do, right? The biggest thing that will really set you on the path for success is creating a budget. You don't even have to do anything. Like I always say, like you want to create a baseline. So what you want to do is just sit down, like whatever day you decide, sit down, right? And I would say start today, right? Sit down and just don't judge yourself. This is not a judgment zone. We just want to look at everything you're spending, how much money you're getting, all of those input, outputs, where you could maybe cut down on things. All of those, we just want to look at what's happening right now. Where is all the money going that you do receive from whatever sources of income that you may have, right? But tracking your income and your expenses is essential. You'll be able to see where you're putting way too much money, where money's going out to that you maybe could cut down on, how you could mitigate from one cost to another, or things that you could consolidate together. You see maybe you have some subscriptions that you should have canceled that you don't really need anymore. You start to list all of that. You really start to see why am I paying this subscription? I never use it. I never log on. Cancel. Those things. A budget helps you. It's just a baseline. It's not a judgment zone. It's a baseline. This is, even if it's a negative, whatever, it is just a baseline. We want to see where we're starting from to see how far we can go. It is not a judgment zone. I say this all the time, but you do have to create that budget just so you know where you're going, right? Where you started from and where you need to go. That's what a budget is really for. And there are a lot of great apps out there that can help you do it. And if you don't want to use any app, do the old-fashioned way. I told you I have an Excel sheet, simple to the point, where everything is going and where I need to curb my enthusiasm when it comes to my money, So There are a lot of resources that can help you out there. Find the one that works for you. Let's go on to number 3. Number 3 is hard for maybe the people pleasers out there. It may be hard for the people who are scared to put themselves out there, but you're going to have to negotiate, okay? Negotiate when it comes to a lot of things. Like, you really have nothing to lose when you negotiate. People are like, no, oh my God. No, you don't. Let's say, for example, you get an offer from a job, right? They offer you this position, and now you're like, I would really like to ask for an extra $5,000, $10,000. And you're like, I don't want to ask for it. What do you have to lose? The worst they say is, well, no, we don't have that in our budget. This is what we can offer. Then at that point, you decide, okay, you know what? That's not enough for me, so I'm going somewhere else. Or, oh, you know what? It was a risk. It was a shot. I just want to shoot my shot and see what I will get. We'll let it go, right? So at that point, you have nothing to lose. Think about it. Like, even with the job example, they offer you the job. They went through a lot of candidates to give you that offer, right? And you may be you and someone else, right? And they decide to go with you over the other person. They're more than likely willing to negotiate. Do you know the effort that it takes to try to hire someone? Exactly. Effort, time, resources, all of those things that they could save if they just paid you more. When you think about it that way, you change the perspective and the narrative in your head, because I had to do the same thing. I had to be like, listen, I am offering something here. That's why I got even this offer or got hired in the first place. So what can we do to make it a profitable thing for both of us? Like something I can live off of and have a good life with, but it makes me a healthier, happier worker. Because I feel like, hey, I want to go to work because it pays me well. It contributes to my life in a positive way financially, right? Because you're going to work, that's what it's for. We're trying to make some money. Yes, you may be doing it for fulfillment, maybe you're post-retirement, but more than likely, it's for money, right? Even the price of something you want to buy, I'm not saying negotiate in a grocery store. I know Nigerians, I'm Nigerian. I know we were used to the marketplace, negotiation. My mother can negotiate anything, but I'm not talking about the grocery store and things like that. We have established things. Don't stress yourself about that. I would say one-to-one, you can always say, hey, can you do 5 for this price? Like that, like a lot off of you. Because think about it, right? You're still buying. And if it's not profitable for them, they will counter offer. And a counter offer doesn't mean a no. It could just mean can you meet in the middle? A compromise. So yeah, you're gonna have to learn to negotiate. You're just gonna have to do it. This is a skill that you have to have in your 20s. You really have to build it up. I wish I started earlier and just getting used to just the fear of maybe getting a no. Because a lot of times it wasn't even a no. But sometimes I didn't even ask. I didn't even ask because I was so scared. But that would have changed the game when it came to the trajectory of like my financial jumps when it came to jobs. So when it comes to jobs and stuff and jumping, I think it would have made a big difference in my life. And I think it can for you too, but that's one thing that you really need to learn as quickly as you can, just to negotiate. Just ask. Because the worst they say again is no. And why would they, you're not embarrassing yourself for standing up and speaking for yourself. So just ask. 4th is start investing early. Remember I mentioned, right? Okay, there could be a 401k, a 457 retirement plan, this, that, and the other, maybe a Roth IRA you open for yourself. Start investing early because it's all about compounding interest, right? Yes, depending on what you invest in and all that type of stuff, it may be more, and a lot of stocks and investment are tied to the market. So if the market is doing well, you're doing well. If it's not, you may not be. But at the end of the day, it is locked in with the market. So at the end of the day, you will end up, the average compounding interest is what, 6-7%? That's still a come up to not having anything at all. Now, if you invest in things that are booming that year, you could come up a lot, right? So at the very base average, you still make maybe low end, maybe 5% interest on the money you just left there, pretty much like a savings that's just making money. But on the high end, you could really, really come up, really come up. Like people who put money into Apple before Apple became Apple, they're living their lives financially free and independent. Yes, so it totally could happen, right? But you need to start that investment early. You need to know about all the investment opportunities you could even get. At your job, does your employer match your 401k? Do they match the retirement, right? Maybe you're putting in 3%, maybe they're matching it that exact 3%, now it's 6% interest and savings that you're coming up in. That's not chump change. Like, I've definitely had that happen at other career shops that I've left in the past, and it was like a full on like 2 months of rent. It's not chump change, and you can take that money, put it into a Roth retirement plan, and just keep it growing. There's so many things, like I said, this is tied to the education aspect, right? But you have to start investing early. The quicker you learn about what you need to do, the quicker you need to get into doing what you need to do. Like, I was very hesitant because I actually, at one point, even put money into my Roth, right? Put money in my Roth, and I just said, oh yeah, that's my savings. And I didn't actually invest it in anything. And so my husband was like, is your Roth actually, have you bought any stocks? Have you invested in anything? No, it was just sitting there. What? Because at the end of the day, cash may, at least the American dollar, depending on which currency you have, may or may not, more than likely decreases in value. So that 10,000 you put there this year because of inflation, right? In 5 years, it's not the same 5,000 because it's not worth 5,000 anymore, or whatever price you put in there anymore. You want to be matching the market, right? So those are things I just had to learn, ask questions about, have a lot of people in my family that's like in finance. Like I said, my husband was in finance in the past. All the family members were in it, so I can ask some questions. But you are going to have to do that research, but you need to start as early as possible because it will set you up you'll be in a much better place than a lot of people. And it's crazy that a lot of people don't actually have this education, don't actually know about all of this stuff. Because I was one of those people. I'm not judging you. I was one of those people. But it's so crazy that it's not readily available, but it is, but you have to be looking for it. Like, it's something that I feel like every high schooler, middle schooler should know about, right? But I feel like it is a system that's set up that people don't know. So they get in credit card debt, loans, and issues over and over again. And it's just like, it's a system. But I digress. You just need to start early so you know what to avoid and where you need to go. Next, very tied to that, let's talk about credit scores. Okay? When you're swiping that card, you want to know your credit score because your credit score will affect the interest rate that you have to pay back on, the credit card that you apply for or whatever that you get, right? And if you don't know, now you know. So if your credit score is better and you have a longer history of credit, you're more likely able to get better credit line, a better interest rate. So that's how credit scores affect you. It also affects you if you have terrible credit and you're applying for like apartment or something, they can tell that you're not paying back certain things that you need to be paying back. Like, the credit score affects certain things like that, right? I know some jobs even, they want to see your credit score because they want to see your finances match what you say, or like just your lifestyle, like what you owe and all that stuff. So that's where the credit score comes in, because the American system is based on the credit scores. And I think a lot of Western world system is based on the credit score system, but definitely the US. Okay, credit score in the US, they go together real bad. When it comes to credit scores and credit cards, you have to, the biggest, easiest thing is just don't spend more than you can pay back, right? Because you should be using your credit card to be paying things and then be able to pay back your credit card fully. Those are the things that show that you're responsible with your credit and therefore affect your credit score, right? So, opening up lines of credit on different things, all of those things affect because they have a ding on your credit score. They show up on your credit score. So those are the things you need to understand. Like, you need to see all of the things that really affect your credit score. I just listed just a few. There's a ton of things, okay? You need to look that up. That's part of the education section. You need to look that up, okay? Let's go to the next one. Habit number 6 is building an emergency fund. Now, you should have cash, okay? Cash emergency fund. The biggest way that I would say you can get this is asking for a raise or switching jobs. So every 2 or 3 years, if you're switching jobs, if you're changing career and everything, or you're asking for a raise or trying to get into a new position at your company so that you can get that raise, you will be able to build emergency fund, pay loans back, all of those things quicker. That would be my quickest way to tell you to building an emergency fund. But overall, even if it's like $20 a week, I still think that $20 a week that you just put aside for the goal is to have 6 months, right? 6 months of savings, 6 months of an emergency fund. That's really what is recommended. And when I quit my job last year, I talked about this in the video and everything, you know, I saved enough for that. That's what we're saying when we say emergency fund. It's something that I've had to do work, but that is the emergency fund, right? Because you have money that you can go to and you have saved up, and you know, anything happens, you're not up a creek without a paddle. It's vital. I always dip into my fund. A lot of people do, but that's the point, to not dip into the fund. And that's something that I feel I am still learning myself even now, because again, it's just a lot is happening. Inflation is crazy right now. But let me tell you something, that emergency fund, when you do really want to and you really can go and say, oh, I do have like $300 in this bank account, I have $500 here and I have $1,000 there, they come in handy. All my monthly auto pays have come out and you realize, wow, wait, I have less cash in my account than I thought. Emergency fund. You definitely should have some emergency fund. It comes in handy for those situations, for random things that just pop up in life, like a car, you know, your car tire or something happens. You just want to change it. You didn't know that you needed to change your tire and you didn't have cash on you. Emergency fund, right? That safety net provides peace of mind. It will really help you out, because end of the day, you're like, you know what, worst comes to worst, we have that money. We can go to that money, get something, replenish it, but we have that thing that we can go to. Trust me, 3 to 6 months worth of it is ideal, but always try that $20, $50 here from your cash. Oh, just put the money. Trust me, the day you need it, and there will be a day, I hate to say it, you'll have it. But yeah, let's go on to the next one. Avoid lifestyle creep, avoid lifestyle inflation. This is the biggest one that gets people, right? You get a better job, so now you want a better car, or you want to buy more of this, or you want to do more of that because you got a better job. But really what you need to be doing is you need to get that better job to pay off your rent and to pay off your loans. And you need to use it to pay into that emergency fund we just talked about. And you need to use it to pay into your 401k and your retirement fund. Remember we talked about that? That's really what you need to be doing, because that's a lifestyle creep. That's a lifestyle inflation, they call it, because it gets to you. It gets to all of us too. Don't get me wrong. All right. None of these things are what I did not do it perfectly. That's why I'm here to help you do it and help you make it better, right? It gets you, especially in your 20s, when you see everybody going out, traveling, all that stuff, you want to do the same thing. But what you really need to do is sit your butt at home, save that money and cook, all right? Do grocery shopping. Anything that I tell you guys, it is not out of judgment. Trust me, I have run up my money on bags, run up my money on shoes, run up my money on shopping. It literally just took me being like, listen, if I actually just stayed a little bit content with a little bit of what I have right now, which I do have quite a lot of stuff. I do the content on YouTube, TikTok, all of this stuff, and I've done it for a lot of years, so I have a lot of stuff. So the fact of the matter is, there is no need for me to buy any new thing, to be real with you. I still do, but you know, in moderation, right? It wasn't because, oh, I'm making more money now, let me fill up that gap with the things that I could buy. That's lifestyle creep. It comes on quick. In your early 20s, it's easy to fall into it, especially if you start making money quick in your early 20s, boy, let me tell you. But monitor it, trust me. You know, it happens to us all, but just keep an eye on those things that you're like, wait, I'm blowing stacks on this. Like, what am I blowing stacks on? That's a lifestyle creep. You know what I mean? Because you could split that money up into like a 30% of like, you know, blowing a little bit of that money, put the other into savings, put some into, you know, your future, whatever you want to actually do or buy, or trip you want to go to, you know? Let's go to the next one. Next, I would say automate your savings and your investments so you don't even notice it. But also in the same thread, start a sinking fund, okay? Sinking funds are those funds like vacations you're gonna take, right? Like I just mentioned in the last one, vacations you're gonna take, things that you may buy, things that you know are coming up, and like birthday presents. You know you're gonna spend some money on people's birthday presents. You know you're gonna be doing this, that, and the other. You know you need to buy a new phone because your phone is cracked. So you know you need to. All of those things are sinking funds, right? You know you're gonna have to spend money on it, but at the same time, you're gonna do it. You know you're gonna have to spend it, or you know you're gonna take that vacation, whatever it may be. We know we're gonna do that, check, right? But it doesn't mean that we just, oh my God, day of, I gotta blow all my money and spend up it on my credit card. You could have saved, you know, month after month for that, right? I knew I was gonna get my locks installed. So I knew that was a few thousand, it was $1,200, like I said in my video, right? So I saved about 300, 200 every month to be able to do it. All right, before you do it, I was able to get it put in my hair, installed. There's still funds that come with it, but those are things that I know are sinking funds. I know I'm going to do it, so I know that I have to have that money saved to do it. You know, sometimes, like I said, I am a high maintenance girly because it gives me a low maintenance life. Those are sinking funds, right? Those are things technically I don't have to do. I don't have to put it. I can try to do my nails myself, do my hair myself, all those things. But I know that I'm going to do it. So I put that money away as part of my expenses, right? Those are part of the expenses that I now calculate. But again, a sinking fund, okay? But the biggest things that will help you are automating your savings and your investments. So at my job, for example, I just have them take out 10% of my pay straight away. I don't even see it. Put it into an investment account. Put it into my 457 is my pre-tax contributions. Put it into a savings account. That way, boom, we're good to go. I'm saving without even thinking about it. What I get left over is what I can spend. So that money is already working for me in some way. It's pretty much like paying myself first before I have to, you know, do anything else with anything else. I'm saving in that aspect, even without really even thinking about it at this point, because it's automated, right? So that's how I would say that would be the biggest thing. Same thing like if you were to enroll in a 401k, a Roth IRA, have like a reoccurring thing. So you don't even think about it anymore. It's part of almost like a expense, but you know it's an expense for your future good. But I just added to the cost of things like you know it's gonna get taken out of like your income. Trust me, it will save you the stress of, oh, now I have to go put another $100. Oh, but no, this week I want to save it. I've been there myself, okay? Oh no, but I don't want to really, you know, say, I don't want to reuse this because, you know, this is my last few hundreds in case any kind of expenses come out from any automated payments that I have to make. You know, I want to have some backup in there some way, somehow, right? Understandable. So this week, that $100 that you were going to put in savings, I don't even want to put it in there, even though you could have put it in there because you do have it. You just don't want to do it this week, right? If it's automated, there's no discussion. That money is getting taken out regardless. So yeah, now makes your life easier. Okay, that's my biggest tip. And it's an effortless way to make sure you're consistently saving and compounding that money, right? That's the goal. Just make your life easier. All of these things is to make your life easier, right? Because the whole goal is financial freedom at the end of the day. This is all the things that will get you there quicker without it being overwhelming, a burden, you're lost in the sauce. This is how to get there, right? And these are things I wish I learned, but yeah. Let's get into tip number 9. Remember how I mentioned credit card reports and credit scores and making sure that you use your credit card well? Yes, we're now talking about credit. Okay, we're taking our credit and you are using it very wisely. We're using our credit wisely. Why? Because it affects our credit score, like I mentioned earlier. Duh. Don't max it out, okay? Try to have your utilization for your credit be as low as possible. Every year, especially if you're making more money every year, make sure you try to get an increase in your credit score line, your credit score limit. Get an increase every year so that way also helps your utilization. If you get an increase of maybe 5,000 this year, right? So you owed 5,000 last year. Now, it looks like you owe less of a percentage because now you have a higher credit limit. So those are tips and things that I've had to also learn along the way. Like every year I should be asking to increase my credit score line, my credit limit on my credit card, especially one obviously that I'm using all the time. But you have to still use that credit wisely. It's only there, like you should be using your credit card like your debit card, but in a way that's obviously responsible. And here's how I mentioned this earlier. Whatever you spend on your credit card has to be enough cash to pay it exactly back from your bank and checking account. That's the secret, okay? If you have $500 cash in your account, spend it on a credit. Then go and pay that $500 from your credit, okay? And you just use your credit card, swipe. All right, go pay it back with the cash that you got. That's how your credit grows, because it shows that you know how to loan, like take a loan out by using credit and pay it back in time without interest, right? So that's how credit works. So if you have cash in your bank account, your checking account, then you can spend it on credit. And you should be using your credit card like that, in that manner solely, to be able to build your credit score. But that is the method that you need to be using. You have that money to pay it back. Use it wisely. Don't rack it up. Oh, there's somebody. Oh. Listen, I've done it. It's not fun trying to pay it back because the interest hits quick. Like I'm telling you, they come for that money quick. Because if you don't pay it fully back, now they're gonna give you that interest. And the interest that they approved you at when you were getting that credit card opened, depending on the score that you had, you see how we're like, it's a cyclical issue, right? Yeah. And then number 10 is actually, and I talk about this in other videos, but taking care of your physical health, mental health, your health in general, right? Preventative care, as in actually going to your doctors for your annual visit, going to get your body checked out the way you're supposed to do it, going to see a therapist to talk to someone. All of those are preventative care when it comes to actually living a good life. Eating well, working out, sleeping well, you know, having routines that benefit you, right? Those are preventative, when you think about it, preventative care from bigger issues, bigger financial issues, right? If you're not taking care of yourself, you know what, like, hello, hospital time? No, I don't want to wish anything bad on anyone, but that's just, think about it. If you're not taking care of yourself, you're not doing the visits to the doctor, you're not checking yourself, right? The end result is literally being in the hospital, because and hospital bills in the United States are notoriously high. Painkillers cost 100%. Who knows? They could charge anything they want on the minute little things and rack that bill up, right? We all know it. That is the United States healthcare system. What you need to do is be healthy. Take the time off. Take a mental health day. Call it a sick day, call it a personal day. Sit your butt at home and relax for one day or two, whatever you need. I don't know. But those are the things that are preventive care, right? Going to your doctor, going to checkup, doing all the things that you need to do. Preventative care. Taking care of your physical, mental, every aspect of your health, unmatched. Unmatched, okay? Literally. I always say this. I think this should probably be like number one, take care of physical health, but I feel like people would have clicked off the video at that point, but it's so important, like legit. We don't have anything else if we're not taking care of our health, but that's why it's still number 10, because if you stay to the end, the nuggets, the real nuggets. Everyone who stays to the end of the videos get the real nuggets. You know what I mean? And I say that every video. So yeah, there you have it. There's the 10 financial habit tips that I wish I started in my 20s. As someone in their 30s now, trust me when I say these, I have gone through all of these myself, and I wish I had learned or someone had told me. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment if you have any other tips that I may have missed that could help someone else. And until next time.